All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fucksters, what the fuck nicks? What's happening? I'm Marc Maron. This is my podcast. What day is it? Where are we? What year is it? What is the truth? What isn't? What's happening? How are you doing? What's right in front of you? Is what is right in front of you okay? Is it okay right in front of you? I hope so. Because it's still pretty fucking gnarly in my head. And down the road a piece. Down the road a piece seems pretty fucking gnarly to me. Hope you're voting. Vote early. Vote now. Let's take a walk and put that ballot in the fucking mail. Let's go. Fill it out. I'm going to stand here until you fill it out. Do it. So today, you're going to hear me talk to Wynton Marsalis. I wouldn't say I was nervous, but he's like a music genius and also an encyclopedic music genius. So I was nervous, just like there are things I need to know about jazz. And I don't know about jazz. I know about 3 things about jazz. He knows everything about jazz. And it was a little intimidating. He's also, he's the director of jazz at Lincoln Center, Pulitzer Prize winner. He's won 1 million Grammys. He got the National Medal of the Arts. Comes from a family full of renowned jazz musicians, and I'm like, that Thelonious Monk's pretty good, right? That Thelonious Monk. But it was an honor to talk to the guy, and I listened to the hell out of his new record, man. This the Ever Fonky Lowdown. It's just one of these records. It's like a masterpiece. Like there's like 3 or 4 albums to it. There's like 50 fucking riffs and songs, and there's a narrative, and there's poetry. And it's like, holy shit. And I would never have seen it hadn't I been following him and been friendly with the Jazz at Lincoln Center people. You look at his discography, he's done like 10 records a year, for fuck's sake. The guy does all these records. I'm like, where have I been? I've been collecting old records and having certain opinions about jazz based on, I don't know what. Wynton is one of those guys. He's like too good. He's like good at his own trip. He's good at classical. He can mimic people perfectly. Just complete control of the instrument and his mind. And I'm listening to this new record, and it's like a fucking masterpiece. And I'm like, are people going to know about the Ever Fonky Lowdown? The Ever Fonky. It's how it's spelled, F-O-N, but funky. I just was, and the subjects he discusses are all relevant, and his sources are great, sort of like the old time snake oil salesman, and just folk stories, and like fucking. It was one of those things where it's like, why didn't I know about this? Well, now I know. I was happy I immersed myself in it, and that I was able to talk about it and learn some things. I look to Wynton as a teacher, but he's a good guy, too. He's a good guy. And you're going to hear me talk to him soon. So, if you haven't heard, Glow, the show Glow, is over. They've stopped it. We were 2.5 episodes into shooting when the lockdown started, and they kept pushing it down the road a piece, and we were told that it's going to go. We're going to do it. Production's going to start in like March. We'll probably be shooting in May, and then a couple days ago they said, nope, it's done. We're not doing it. And yeah, I'm upset, but it's like we live in this fucking world. There's like 15 people on that set, and a lot of them are engaging all at once, and they don't even quite understand this disease fully, let alone, how to protect people from it in the way necessary to guarantee that we would even be able to do it in May. I understand Netflix's argument as to why they canceled it. There was a lot of people that love the show over there, and there's a lot of you that love the show. I get it, but it's still, it hurts because we had the writers, Carly and Liz, had the final seasons laid out. They know the story. So, part of me is like, well, why don't we make a movie down the line? Why don't we just, wrap it up with a 2-hour Netflix movie? I suggested that, and people started tweeting about it and talking about it. And then the head of Netflix, he emailed me, explained what was up. He just basically said, we can't You don't know when we can do it safely. Yeah, I get it. I get the business side of it. I get the safety side of it. I mean, this year's just been fucked up. You know, I lost 2 cats. I lost a girlfriend. I lost my stand-up job. I lost a glow job. I'm okay, but it's a bit much. We might lose the country. It's fucking a lot. It's a lot. And it was weird, you know, when I talked about that the other day, about when the monster was in the hospital, and I personally had a certain sense of relief because I wasn't being assaulted and didn't feel like there was, you know, stepdaddy chaos everywhere. And then he's back. I just like, he is instinctually authoritarian. And so, and the chaos he creates is intentional. And the way it trickles down is intentional. And, you know, the supplicants, enablers, grifters, small-timers, short money people, conspiracy theorists, angry fascist freaks, you know, all of them just, you know, follow in line and do their part to sort of aggressively disassemble any sense of reality or truth. To the point where, look, you know, lefties were no stranger to the conspiracy. I mean, fuck, we invented deep state. The lefties invented deep state, and we had, you know, we were all disappointed that it turns out it doesn't exist because they didn't show up to to take care of this. All the more modern conspiracies from the 60s, a lot of them were kind of left-leaning. The old-timey ones, like Zog and, you know, Illuminati stuff, that's been around a long time, and that was mostly Christian demonization of the Jews. But point being, as these elaborate mythologies kind of mutate and grow malignantly as they are added onto by dumb people who like to connect dots and sort of make equations out of random facts, tie them together and call it truth, and then throw in some mystical hokum and some religiosity, and then, you know, they just sort of let that cradle in their dumb noggins, and they're like, I got it. I got the whole package. I got the truth. I know what's going on. I know where it's heading. You don't. But the problem is that once it becomes a slippery slope or kind of a mushy middle zone of what is real and what isn't and who you can trust with the truth and who you can't, then all of a sudden everybody just is sort of like, who knows? Who knows? So you're not tethered to a grounded reality anymore, or a sense of order or truth or process, context. And you just kind of go through your life not believing any of that matters, and you focus on your task at hand, and you kind of like, your brain goes a little dead in that area, and you just take what they give you. That's the plan. That's the way authoritarianism works. It's too much out there. I just, you know, I don't know how everybody partakes in it so aggressively. I can't take it. Folks, every 26 seconds there's a break-in in this country, but with Simply Safe Home Security, you can protect your whole home around the clock. It's serious, lasting protection, and all it takes is a simple 30-minute setup. You'll even get a free security camera when you protect your home today. More on that in a second. Simply Safe is an award-winning arsenal of sensors and security cameras that blankets every inch of your home. You'll know your home and your family are always safe whenever you have your Simply Safe system turned on. You set up Simply Safe by yourself in just a few minutes without any tools or wiring. No technician or salesperson has to set foot in your house. Then Simply Safe will monitor your home around the clock with security professionals who are there in case of an emergency to immediately send help to your home. Plus, there's no contract, no hidden fees, and no installation costs. It's no wonder U.S. News and World Report named it the best overall home security of 2020. Right now, visit simplysafe.com/WTF and get a free security camera plus a 60-day risk-free trial with any new system ordered. There's nothing to lose. Go to simplysafe.com/WTF today. That's simplysafe.com/WTF. Go do that. Ease some of the fear, at least in your immediate environment. So I'm sorry about Glow. I do have a couple of other things happening, the last few projects that are going to be available of me. Are these movies I did. Respect, the Aretha Franklin flick with Jennifer Hudson, and Stardust, the David Bowie flick with Johnny Flynn. I mean, I will give you more information on that stuff as I get it. I'm trying to keep you in the loop. I really am. I really am. My hand is okay. I was a little paranoid. I didn't get the chronic diarrhea disease from the antibiotics. There's still a little tenderness deep in the tendon, which I hope doesn't flare up in some way, and I lose my thumb. But the bite is okay. But it was pretty fucking overwhelming, man. And it took me a while to accept Buster again as a friend. It's hard to accept your friend when they bite your hand and cause an infection that makes you sick. Like if your friend did that to you, would you right away be like, "Hey pal, what's up? I can only pet you with this one hand." But I guess that's what you get when you own animals. Okay, so listen. I listened to a lot of Wynton before I did this, and there is a lot of Wynton to listen to, and I read some stuff. But he's he is a giant in the world of jazz. He's a giant in the world of making sure that jazz survives and is understood and is taught and is appreciated and enjoyed. Almost all kinds of jazz. Let's say all. But I do believe there are some he likes better than others. Really, it was an honor to talk to this guy. As I mentioned earlier, his latest composition is called the Ever Fonky Lowdown. You can call it an opera or a polemic or a performance art, whatever you call it. You can get it at store.jazz.org. And this is me talking to the amazing Wynton Marsalis. You look good, man. How you feeling, Wynton?
Good, man. How you been?
I'm hanging in.
Interesting time.
I got to tell you something, man. You know, I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and I'm not a music journalist or anything, but I'm a music lover, and I've spent some time in the last few years trying to understand and get engaged with jazz music. But when they sent me this thing, the Ever Fonky Lowdown, and I was like, "Why? What is this thing?" And when I listened to it, and I was like, "Holy shit! What the fuck is happening?" He's getting it all in. It's all in one dark piece. I mean. Well, what possessed it? I don't even know how to describe it. Is it an opera? What is it?
No, it's just a story. It's a game. You know, it's a story. It's a game with a satirical character, and the music is just all kind of stuff that I grew up playing. And
but it's deep, man. I mean, I get it. I get that the pitch is it's a game, and you've got Mr. Game, and you've got this satire. But I mean, you're selling it a little short by just saying, yeah, it's a fun. It's not like a fun record, right?
No, it's stuff that I learned across all these years, just about people, about human beings. Because I've toured for 40 years now, and because I taught in so many schools all over the United States, I stay after every gig. So I meet parents and kids starting in 1980. So you figure it's 2020 now.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to fly, so I also drive everywhere.
Yeah.
And I've met so many people and their kids in so many states and places, really all over the world. But let's just say, especially in the United States, a lot of stuff becomes clear to me when I hear people talk to each other. And when people talk about other people, my father used to always have a thing. He hated for you to call a group of people they. So that's why the second movement is called they. He would say, "Hey, man, who is they? Do you know them? Have you met them? Have you sat down with them? Did you talk with them?" Because he grew up in very strict segregation. And so it's really the things in the Ever Fonky Lowdown are just things that I have observed and know about our country. And of all the long pieces I've written, this is the one that I did the least amount of musical research for, because a lot of the styles are styles that I grew up playing. And so far as the story goes, it's just what's apparent about what goes on out here.
Well, yeah, well, right. It's about America, but it's also about power. It's about money.
Right.
It's about the black experience.